In half an hour, a new documentary series looking at that most awkward of ages, 15. Before that, the last in the current series of Driven goes decidedly upmarket.
This week on Driven, no expenses been spared.
Yes, in the last of the series, we test 3 of the most expensive cars you can buy in the Driven 100. Plus, the shocking truth. Does your car have a serious design fault that you know nothing about? And of course, there's Driven's Car of the Series. Stay tuned to find out which one is the best of the lot. Imagine if, for once, money is no problem, that if you wanted to, you could have any car that your heart desired. Something to convey you in style and comfort between your helicopter and your country mansion. You know, I think I can get used to that.
Yes, this week we have assembled over £250,000 worth of machinery, and that doesn't include the helicopter. As usual, we'll be scoring the cars in our 4 categories to find out which is the best luxury car on the market.
Contender number 1 is the obvious choice for any self-respecting multi-millionaire. Yes, the Rolls-Royce, the silver Seraph in fact, recently given a midlife facelift with a stiffer body and more room in the back for more comfort for your passengers. It's still a 2.5-ton Leviathan though, and it really needs that 5.3-litre V12 engine, which pumps out 322 brake horsepower and propels it to a top speed, electronically limited, of 140 miles per hour. Now, the only way you're going to get across a couple of continents any faster, or in any more luxury, is by booking a couple of those expensive seats near the front of a jumbo jet. Mind you, that's still going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than the £159,000 that the Rolls-Royce cost you.
If, however, you were to choose the second of this week's cars, the mighty Mercedes-Benz S-Class, then you'd probably be travelling even quicker than in that Rolls-Royce, although perhaps in not such opulent surroundings. The S-Class has long been regarded as the rightful owner of the title, the best car in the world. And this, the latest version, is really staggering. With the performance of a sports car and more technology than you can imagine, this is going to be very, very hard to beat. Plus, at a paltry 70 grand, it's half the price of the Rolls-Royce. But don't let that put you off.
Okay, I hear you shouting. What's a Range Rover doing in this company? But this is no ordinary green welly transporter. This is the Range Rover Autobiography, the poshest and most expensive Range Rover money can buy. A bespoke car from the exterior paint to the interior finishes and all the gadgets. And if you specify every one, it will set you back 65 grand. I say, I'll have 2. What? Oh, I just ran over a peasant. Get off my land.
3 fabulously luxurious cars then, all commanding fabulous prices. But which is the best? Or to put it another way, if you just won the lottery, which one would you find the most desirable? Well, to answer that question, we're here in some suitably palatial surroundings with some people who might just be able to help. Yes, we've actually got 3 lottery winners. They scooped somewhere in the region of £15 million between them. So let's find out what they think.
Yes. You like it?
Oh, very nice.
So this is Carl. Carl, how much did you win?
I won 10.9 million.
10.9. Oh, then there's a couple of quid, mate. So I know it's a bit ostentatious having a Rolls-Royce, but is this the type of thing that a lottery millionaire, very much like yourself, Carl, now officially my best friend, is this the type of car you buy?
I don't know. I can see myself sat in the back here and being chauffeur driven. I can see that happening.
Now, how much did you win?
2.7 million.
Oh my word. No, and you bought a Fiesta, didn't you, with your money?
I did, that was the first thing I bought, Fiesta.
You could buy 16 Fiestas instead of that.
I could, I'd rather have 16 Fiestas.
Well, you don't like this?
Well, it's just too grand for me. It's I'd feel as if I had to clean it out every day before I got in.
Not bad.
Craftsmanship. Is this English craftsmanship at its best, Gary?
Allow me. Oh, that is cool. And what does one of these cost?
160,000.
Well, come and look at the boot in this car. Fully carpeted, 2 free brollies, For your golf? You've probably got your own golf course in the back garden, haven't you?
No, but you could certainly fit, I think,
You could
4
fit-
people's golf courses.
Look at
golf
you.
clubs in here.
So, Carl, have you got a girlfriend then?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, we could sit and watch polo in the back of this for a couple of hours, couldn't we? Brewer, iced tea.
Stop it.
But it's not you, is it?
No.
I think the Mercedes is more everybody, actually. Should we go and have a look?
Right, go and get yourself in the old driver's seat. You'll like this one. In your pop. Hey. Gary, how much did you win?
1.6 million. Are you alright?
Yeah, I am. 1.6 million. The smell of it. Anyway, look, this is the the Mercedes S500. I'll have you know, and this is a bit more your cup of tea, I gather, because this one has absolutely. I mean, you've got electric seats that go in a multitude of different directions. You've got heated seats, you can warm up your bum, and if you happen to pass wind, you can fan this away with this handy little fan that wafts the smell down to the back of the car.
And we'll waft it straight back into the front again. Anyway, how are you two in the back here? Comfy?
Brilliant.
Do we like it?
Well, I love this one.
You like the old
I know I do.
Vanity
There's
Mare,
one
don't you?
either side.
Look at that.
The only problem is my bends. I'd be broke in a week.
Yeah, it doesn't look very, very sturdy, that part, actually.
No.
Yeah, right.
Right. Now these are very cool, these doors.
Okay.
You're gonna like this.
So you've got a couple of kids, haven't you? So look at
Oh, wow. Did
Yeah.
it look itself?
it just shuts itself.
just
It pulls
sucks
itself shut.
That'd be
So that's a great gadget. Let's go to the Range Rover and show you some more gadgets.
This one.
There's a couple of gadgets in here. I
She's
think
gonna
you are going to be
love those.
particularly keen
on
on.
the Range Rover.
You jump in the front, Carl.
You slide
I'll
over.
Wander around here.
This is what you've been after. Now, you've got
wow,
a
headphones
TV
as
screen in the
well.
back of each headrest,
Can I put them on?
cordless headset, and you've got all the controls here to fiddle with. You've got a table that folds out, the cup holder.
It's amazing.
You can't
It's
complain about the
beautiful.
lack of
Oh, no, I like
gadgets
this
in
one.
here.
This
And a remote.
I do like.
This is an autobiography, which basically means you can have whatever you want fitted.
That must cost a lot, the extras.
Don't worry about money. You've got more money than I could dream of having.
It's really me, this. Wandering around my 11 acres.
You really did like Lord of the Manor sitting
Oh,
up
I
here.
would, yes.
Right, it's time to find out which of our 3 cars our lottery winners really desire. Come on then, guys, you've had a good poke and a good prod around each car. So, Carl, for you it's going to be the Merc, right?
No, it's come a close second, but it has to be the Range Rover, just for pure practicality, I'm afraid.
The Range Rover?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to ask you. Gary?
Definitely the Mercedes. Out of all 3 cars, definitely the Mercedes.
Boring.
So this is going to be, you're going to go for the Range Rover, aren't you?
Oh, definitely.
In another colour?
Definitely. In another colour. I can't have a green car.
Yeah, but hang on. What about the Rolls-Royce?
Yeah, what?
Special British institution.
Anyway, look, it's democracy. We'll let them fight out amongst themselves. But it seems our lottery millionaires have gone for the Range Rover. Later on, we'll be finding out which of these 3 cars has the most oomph when it comes to overtaking us lesser mortals on the motorway. We'll also be meeting 3 mysterious fat cats who are going to check the cars out for space. And of course, the all-important Driven 100. But first, this. Ooh.
Do you trust your car to stop when you want it to? David Knight, a surgeon from Scotland, certainly expected his Ford Explorer to.
It was an ordinary day. I was driving on my way to work. I had a series of patients to see for operations that day, and I was thinking about them a little bit. I approached a roundabout where there was a queue of traffic. As I came up behind the queue of traffic, I took my foot off the accelerator and put it on the brake. Before I knew what had happened, the car had shot forward and rammed into the car in front. Once the wreckage and everything had cleared away, my car was still drivable, and I was able to continue on my journey into the hospital. Within half a mile, I came upon a roundabout, and I once again went to put my foot on the brake, and once again the car shot forward, and this time, fortunately, there was no other car in front. My car went straight over the roundabout. I had to knock the car into neutral and pull on the handbrake to make it stop.
Obviously, a terrifying experience. But how on earth could such a nightmare scenario of this possibly have happened? I'll show you. A simple piece of carpet that was becoming wedged behind the brake pedal and overlaying the throttle pedal so that the harder you braked, the faster you went at the same time. Now, you may well ask, How on earth can such a fundamental but potentially lethal design fault not be picked up, spotted and fixed really quickly? To which I would say to you, welcome to the mysterious world of the recall. A recall happens when a manufacturer discovers a fault in a car that has already been sold to the public. Letters are sent out to owners asking them to return their cars for remedial work. Almost every manufacturer has at some time recalled one or more of its products for faults that range from the mildly comical, such as overheating seats toasting the posteriors of Bentley owners, to the much more serious, like airbags going off for no reason or potential brake failure. Take this for example, the Peugeot 306, a perfectly sound car, but one that's been recalled by its manufacturer no less than 8 times during its production life. No single 306 has been affected by all the recalls, and they're not all serious in this instance, but it just goes to show that the modern car, one of the most complex and sophisticated objects you can buy, goes wrong more often than you might realise. Now, with all these recalls going on, you'd think that a terrifying ordeal such as David Knight's must have happened prior to the recall notice being issued, but not at all. Ford knew about the fault that could have claimed David and his family's lives. They had issued a recall notice about the footwell carpet on that model, but David never received it. David's car had slipped through the recall net. He bought it second-hand from one of a main chain of garages, but the recall notice was never passed on to him, nor had it been passed on to the main dealer that actually serviced his car just a few weeks before his terrible accident. But what's truly terrifying is just how many cars there are out there being driven about every day by you that are just like David's. They're known to be carrying serious defects, and yet absolutely nothing has been done about it. You don't need me to point out the consequences of that, do you?
We see something like 900,000 cars a year affected by a recall. If you look at the Vehicle Inspectorate's data, they say that recalls are between 70 and 85% effective. If you look at that from the other end, that means that recalls are between 15 and 30% ineffective.
Well, I think the attitude that the industry takes is that we must be seen to do every single thing we possibly can. We write to every owner, we send them a letter which includes a stamped addressed envelope for them to respond to. But you know, there are 2 million new cars sold in the United Kingdom every year. And whilst we would never ever be complacent, there is an inevitability that 1 or 2 of those vehicles do get written off. They are involved in accidents, they are indeed sold to third parties, and the owners don't bother to tell the DVLA, even though they're supposed to do so.
If we do the sums, that adds up to somewhere between 130,000 and 260,000 vehicles a year with an outstanding safety recall. The rectification work hasn't been done.
There are moves afoot to include recall data on a computerised version of the MOT certificate, which should help stop all those cars escaping the recall system. But until that happens, we have just one piece of advice for you. Don't panic. Just check that your car hasn't missed a recall. Call the manufacturer's customer service department, whose number you'll find in the handbook of your car. You'll also need your car's registration number and its vehicle identification number. So, have your MOT certificate to hand. We called all the major manufacturers and most were able to help. But a few had a bit of trouble finding the information, so do be persistent. There's a list of phone numbers on our website at www.4car.co.uk, and the AA says that it will be launching a free recall database service in April. So get on the phone and for goodness sake find out if it's been recalled. After the break, our quest to find the ultimate luxury conveyance continues, and the car of the series. Which one has had the highest score ever in the Driven 100?
Bacardi, lime, soda, Regal.
anywhere. Hi.
Lost your keys.
Looks that way, doesn't it?
Daddy, where are the keys?
Still, we are insured with Eagle Star.
Sorry?
On our house insurance. Lose your keys and they get a locksmith out.
So, have you called them? You have called? Aren't you going to tell Frank?
No.
Stay in Scotland for even a short break, and Scotland stays with you for a lot longer. For your free Holiday Scotland pack full of special offers, call now on 08705 511 511.
Hey baby, when I look you in the eye, I know I got my mind set on you.
The best thing about First Direct Internet Banking, it's not that it's quick, simple and reliable. No, the best thing about First Direct Internet Banking is that you're in control. You're the driver. Any chance of a lift? Right, what's next?
Can't do it in life? Do it on the web with the power of the Pentium 3 processor. Find out about an exclusive service for Pentium 3 processor owners at intel.co.uk.
Welcome back. Now a quick update on our website and Driven's Good Garage Survey. Thousands of you have told us which garages you recommend and which to avoid, but we still need more. So log on to www.4car.co.uk. Plus, this week's news and photos direct from the Geneva Motor Show. Right, it's part 2 of the Driven 100 and the return of the famous time exposed to danger test. Now, for those of you who haven't seen this before, it's all about overtaking ability. How long will it take each of our 3 Fat Cat motors to accelerate past a 60-foot articulated lorry? Our truck will be travelling at a steady 50 miles per hour down the runway, and as we enter a stretch of simulated dual carriageway, we'll pull out and try to get past in the quickest possible time. The Mercedes-Benz goes first.
Right, it's the Mercedes-Benz S-Class 306 brake horsepower V8 engine. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. Jason and Penny, come on guys, you're not executives yet. Put your
I'm just checking my share prices, man.
Yeah, don't check your share prices. Right, we're going to overtake our truck in our time exposed to danger test. I'm coming up behind it now. I'm going to accelerate hard. Here we go! Plenty of room. This car is so fast.
It's a breeze.
It's fantastic. It is a breeze.
It is a breeze.
I'll tell you what, that's highly enjoyable, isn't it, as well?
So the Mercedes-Benz S500 gets a time exposed to danger of 5.2 seconds. Let's see how the 2.5-ton Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph gets on.
Got 322 brake horsepower now. This car should accelerate. Guys, come on, we're doing a test here. Let's see if the old girl can do it. Way off she goes. She's gathered up her skirts, guys, and she's
flying.
I'll tell you what, it's not as quick as the Mercedes, but very, very confident.
It feels like a very heavy car, though, doesn't it?
The huge V12 engine isn't quite huge enough to beat the Merc, but 6.2 seconds will do nicely, thank you. Next up, the Range Rover Autobiography.
Guys, come on! Look, I'm watching telly in the back. Guys!
Sorry, we're just watching TV in the headrests. 218 horsepower.
Hooked up to an automatic gearbox, 4 speeds. What do you think, guys, in the back?
I could do with a bit more than 218 horsepower from a 4.6 litre V8, but anyway.
And to be honest with you guys, I'm not too sure about if this car's going to make it.
Oh, you see, honestly, I don't think... Oh, yeah, and you just clip the cone.
Do you know what? It feels so unstable.
So in our time exposed to danger test, the Mercedes S500 comes in first, with the Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph coming in second, and the Range Rover, unfortunately, coming in last.
So the Mercedes has the edge when it comes to performance, but which of these three cars has the upper hand when it comes to accommodating its rightful occupants? Well, we've had a jolly good lunch, and now we're officially fat cats. So we're going to see if we can fit into the Rolls-Royce. Oh, I had too many pies, I'm sure I did. Yes, we're wearing special suits that simulate the proportions of your average overpaid captain of industry. But will our limos be capable of holding our inflated frames?
I'm in!
Go on, Pan.
And I'm comfortable.
I'm never going to get past the steering wheel.
Well, amazingly, I've actually got a little bit of space between my knees and the chair.
Can't shut the door. Well, I'm in. I'm in. But there's not much room. Can you believe this? There isn't much room in the footwell.
So you can hardly call a Rolls-Royce a piece of cake? So let's try the Mercedes.
Did someone mention cake?
Cake! There might be cake in the Mercedes.
Right, in the Mercedes then. Leather seats, you can slide along them. Give me your hand, I'll save you.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm in, I've squeezed in. Oh, nowhere near as much room as the Rolls-Royce for me. Bit of a squeeze on the old elbow room.
I don't think it's too bad.
It's not too bad, but there's no way I could actually drive.
Let's try the Range Rover.
I think this is going to be a bit of a struggle, this one. Oh, I'm in.
But nowhere near as much room as the other two for me. There's no room.
Quite a limousine, the Range Rover.
No. So what do we think then, guys?
Oh, no question.
Rolls-Royce.
So, the winner of the Fat Cat test is the Rolls-Royce. Come on then, guys, out you get. I think this is going to be a tough one. Tin opener, anyone?
Well, after all that nonsense, it's time for the last Driven 100 of the series, when we've got 25 points up for grabs in each of our categories, and the first is drivability and the Rolls-Royce.
And let's not forget, it comes second in the older acceleration, in the mid-range front.
That's true.
It's a powerful machine, surprisingly drivable. Let's score it.
Oh, 17?
But what about the Mercedes-Benz?
It's the smoothest drive I can remember ever having in a car. It's fantastic.
But the most refined car I've ever driven.
But even with that smoothness and refinement, it's still a hoot to drive as well.
Yeah, it really is. 22, 23, it's got to be up there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
22, you happy with that? Drivability of the Range Rover.
Oof. I'm not even going to go. I don't even want to discuss it.
It's an off-roader. Of course it's not going to be brilliantly drivable, not on the road anyway.
They did put this clever self-leveling suspension on it, but it doesn't seem to do the trick when you're on the road.
And so it gets just 13. Category 2 is the all-important desirability.
I think if you've got the house and the wealth, then you've got to have one of these parked in your driveway. But even the lottery winners who have got plenty of money but they lead normal lives, they didn't like it. So
this is wearing your wallet on your sleeve, isn't it?
It is.
It really is.
It is. So how much we're going to give it?
Well, it is desirable. We can't escape that.
No, it is.
Everyone
It
would
is.
dream of having one, whether or not you actually bought one. So it's got to be
20.
20.
Now, desirability of this beautiful
Yeah, this is how
Mercedes
it's
S-Class.
No, I want it.
no.
See ya. I want it.
Take it.
It is that desirable, this
Come
car.
on, talk
The
about
reason
it.
it's so desirable is because it's probably, in my
Listen
view,
to
one
it
of the
roar.
best cars in the world. Jason, just calm down.
Sorry.
We know you want it.
It's
but
marvellous.
You don't work for Ron Dennis just yet. Well, don't go that far.
22 for the
22.
Mercedes-Benz. I want this
Each
car.
point very, very well deserved.
And the Range Rover?
Lottery millionaires absolutely loved it. They thought it was fantastic.
It's just not me, so I'll let you score this. But
20.
I suggest you go for a 20. Now, the practicality of the Rolls-Royce. Our mysterious fat cats fitted in here the most easily.
They did,
But I reckon unless you've got a massive stately home to manoeuvre this around, it's not terribly practical. 17?
17.
How practical is the S-Class?
It's very practical. And not only that, this car has, do you agree with me, guys, the most incredible turning circle. It's like a London taxi.
And it scores 18 out of 25, but the Range Rover is the best in this department.
Incredibly practical. We've got to score it very
Of course
highly.
it's practical, it goes off-road,
It's
it
the
goes
most
up
practical
rocks.
of the three cars.
It's, you know, you could go across the Sahara and you couldn't do that in any of the other two.
You could.
Practicality of a
19.
Range Rover.
And finally, cost of ownership. Just how much will they set you back when you take every single expense, except insurance, into account?
Cost per mile on the Rolls-Royce is a staggering 351, approximately 351 pence per mile, which is
Cheaper to constantly hire a cab and get to drive it everywhere. Get some, you know.
The Rolls scores just 8 then, and since the other two are about half the cost, they get 13 and 14 apiece. So it's time for the results, and a bit of a surprise as the Rolls comes last. Its huge cost drops the final score to 62 out of 100. In second place is the Range Rover Autobiography with an impressive 66 points. But the winner is the Mercedes S-Class, great to drive, laden with gadgets and as smooth as the finest silk. This is one of the best cars in the world and it gets a huge 75.
So it's victory for the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, but how does it stack up against all the other winners of this series?
Over the last 10 shows, we've subjected no less than 30 cars to the rigours of the Driven 100. We've tested supercars, family cars, 4x4 pickups, coupes, estates and saloons, pitting the latest models against their established rivals in the quest to find the best car you can buy. The system allows us to compare like with like every week, yet still come up with an overall winner. Only the very best cars rate highly for drivability, desirability, practicality and cost of ownership. And while we don't always take ourselves too seriously, we do stand by our convictions when we declare a winner. Tying for third place overall with 74 are the spectacular Nissan Skyline GTR and the truly rapid BMW M5. Two cars that are awesomely fast and yet easy to drive. We had as much fun in the Skyline as we've had in just about anything, while the BMW is as quick as a Ferrari but can still seat 5 people in comfort. This week's winner, the Mercedes S-Class, comes second in the Car of the Series contest with 75 points. Well, you've just been watching the programme. I think it's pretty obvious we liked it. But Driven's Car of the Series is just as impressive and, crucially, a lot more affordable too. The Renault Sport Clio is small, economical, but not desperately expensive to own or run. We like those sort of qualities on Driven, but we absolutely love its sheer pace, its panache, and its fantastically pin-sharp handling. This is a car that's as happy blasting around a racing circuit as it is trundling about the city. Just our kind of thing, in other words. So, there we have it. The Renault Sport Clio is the champion of this series of Driven with a massive 76 points. And that's it for the current series of Driven, but we'll be back later on in the year. Time to go home, guys.
Yeah.
Sad this bit, isn't it?
I'm going to miss you.
I'm going to miss you too.
Good
Anyway,
time
we'll
for a
see you
song.
later on through the year.
Hey, cycle safe.
Jason. Safe driving.
Safe
Like the car, by the way. I've just bought it.
Have you outside?
Smart.
Too cut.
What's the bonus, Jason?
I can't get.
You're allowed on the end, right?
I don't know, but what I do need to do is to get the feedback.
For details on all of Driven's top stories, visit www.4car.co.uk. Channel 4's innovative car website providing details on the latest deals, reviews, news and scoops.